Welcome back to my channel for a short Hasselblad episode. And I have here a package that looks a little bit like a packaging from Hasselblad. Same color, same design, same form and shape, but it is actually for an accessory. And that's a cage for the Hasselblad X2D and the Hasselblad X2D Mark II. And for those of you who still have the X2D, everything which I'm going to say and show in this video applies for both cameras. My X2D Mark II, but also your X2D. Let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, support my work. Many thanks for that. And now let's start and unbox this cage for the Hasselblad X2D and the Hasselblad X2D Mark II. And I should say, I found this by chance. I wasn't aware that there are cages for Hasselblad X cameras. And this cage has a bunch of functions integrated, which I personally find very useful. And it's not unlike after what I've seen in the web, that this cage will stay on my X2D Mark II body for every shooting when I take the camera out in the field. So let's take the Swiss tool here. Like always, you guys know it. By the way, a lot of people ask me, where can you buy this tool? I've actually no idea. I just forgot. It's such a long time that I have it. I use it for many years. It's convenient. It still works like a Swiss clockwork. Well, it's a Swiss knife, but I don't know where I have it from. So I'm sorry that I cannot provide that information, but listen to the sound. Wonderful. Now let's open this thing. Let's see how this looks like inside, and let's discover together all the features of this cage. Like always, I'm doing this live. I've not seen this gadget before, this accessory for Hasselblad X cameras, and that means I have to improvise and work my way through all the functions, but I do it together with you, and hopefully you will have some fun with that. Safety first. Whenever we use a Swiss knife, we need to close it after we applied it to a packaging. Here we go. And then it can go to the sideline. All right, let's open this up. I think this is a bit easier, hopefully, to open it than the typical Hasselblad packaging, which is always very stiff. And then let's see what we have inside. First, we have here a brochure. This cage is from a company called FALCAM. It's actually sold via Ulanzi, which is an accessory company I order things from time to time. And you also see there's an extended manual here. So let's see if we can figure out by ourselves what this all means and how this is all working. Let's have a look first. This looks good. Look at the finish. This is a matte dark gray finish, will beautifully match the color of the X2D Mark II. I'm sure about that, and I'm sure we'll discover a lot of things. That looks to me like an ARCA SWISS compatible tripod mount here, so we don't need bottom plates to screw into the camera any longer, which is convenient. Upwards in portrait direction, in landscape direction and orientation. And let's try to mount this now to the Hasselblad X2D Mark II, which I have here in front of me on the table. By the way, with my beloved 35-100 zoom lens, still my most favorite lens I ever shot. I prefer it over most of my prime lenses. It's such a versatile lens, and I have a bunch of reviews on my channel about this lens, so you can look this up. Let's quickly have a look what else is in the box. There is a little plastic box here. If I open it, let's see. There are some screws. We'll figure out what that all means. Here is something that's wrapped in. Let's see what it is. Something to slide onto the cage, very likely. We'll figure it out. And a bunch of tools. That looks to me like screwdrivers here. And very likely you can use them in that way. Let's have a look here. See if I get them out. And you probably apply this here. And then you have a screwdriver, which you can use. Looks quite nice, actually. Quite valuable. Everything I feel here and touch with my fingers, my hand, looks very valuable. By the way, there's nothing else in the box. It's completely empty now, and I think we can get it off the table here to have more space for what we want to try out, how this cage is working, and what functions are embedded into that construction here. All right, let's assemble the cage to the camera body. And for this, I suggest we first remove the lens. And then we have the camera naked. So let's do this here. Let's get here the lens removed. Let's get a lens cap here. All right, so the lens is out of the way. Let's protect the camera here. Let's see. All right, that's the camera body. And now let's have a first look into the instructions here. So what it says is remove the L plate and slide the L plate outward to remove. All right. This is very likely the L plate here. Is not the first time I'm mounting a cage. So let's unscrew this here. Let's get the screw out. And let's remove the L plate. Here we go. That's the L plate. We'll look into this later when it is mounted to the camera body. Let's see what else we need to do. Second step, remove top plate and stopper plate. Push the sliding lock upward to release the stopper plate. Remove the top plate screws and lift away both plates. All right. I guess this is very likely here if I look at the sketch. So let's push this. Then we can lift this up. Looks a little bit like here in the little sketch and graphic we have here. Remove the top plate screws and lift away both plates. So I guess that's the time where we need to first use the toolkit here. And if you look at these screws here, let's see what fits in. First of all, let's get the tool. I think it must be this tool here, just by size. So let's get this ready to work. And let's see if we can do this here. Removing means turning in this direction. And yes, it comes out. Let's remove the second one. Next one. Actually, they sit quite firmly to hold that top plate, but we'll get it out. Number 3. Number 4. And I'm working. Here we go. All right, now we should be able to lift this up, and here we go. See, that seems to be the part of the cage which now can be used to fit the camera body. Okay, I guess this should fit now into the cage. Let's see. And yeah, if I look at this, this looks good. Now we need to fix this here with a screw. So we need another tool and another screw. Let's see here what we have. I guess it's this one here. And the tool we use is likely this one now. And there's also a different opening here, so we can conveniently use the tool in this way and get more force. That's probably better than put it on here. So let's put it here. And let's see if the screw fits in. Yes, it does. And it goes directly into the tripod mount socket of the camera body. Let's see, it's actually the wrong tool I've chosen here. Should be this one here. And let's see if we can get this firm. Works actually good. And see here, in this way I have more force, so I can get this very firmly screwed into the tripod socket of the bottom side of the camera body. That's it. Looks good and sits firmly now. And I guess now we can reassemble the top plate and very likely also play with the L bracket here on the side. So let's take the top plate here. Let's see how we can get this firmly pushed down. Looks good. And now we can very likely apply the screws again. And you know what? This is a bit tedious. I just screw them on, stop the video for a moment and continue when they are all screwed on. It's 4 screws. Nothing exciting will happen here. So I'm done with the 4 screws. Look here. They are firmly screwed into where they came from. And the cage is now reassembled here. And they are also pretty nice in terms of build quality here. That looks good. Very likely we can click this down now. It should click. Here we go. And that cage looks brutally cool on my X2D Mark II. Look at that. Let's also get the L plate on again. Let's see here if we can just slide this in. Here we go. And let's take this screw so it doesn't get lost. And let's screw this in. And then this should be fully assembled. Looks good. Look at that. I think this is nice. I think we are almost there. We can start to study its functions. And it is very solid in hand. And it, of course, protects in a very nice way the camera body here. Because you always have a buffer now, you know. And that, I think, is pretty cool. But it also looks really good. Let's explore the ARCA SWISS compatibility first. I have here a tripod head. And let's see if we can get this a bit more aligned. All right. Let's get the bottom plate out. And that typically goes into the bottom of the camera. We don't need this if we have the cage. Let's have a look here. how it slides in. Probably we need to open this a bit more. Here we go. And that is solid like a rock. Look at that. Very nice. So landscape orientation shooting on a tripod, no problem at all. The camera looks good, is secured on the tripod mount, fully ARCA SWISS compatible. Then we saw that L plate on the side here. And of course, we can also go now into portrait orientation with that L plate. Look at that. Very solid ARCA SWISS compatibility, such a great feature to have. And that's what we find on that cage here. Let's unmount it. But if we think we don't want to shoot in portrait orientation, we can also remove the L plate again for a more compact appearance of the whole camera in the cage. So let's get this out again. Let's slide it out. And I guess in order to get this protected, we have now this device here, which we can slide in. And here we go. It snaps in. Very solid. Look at that. Very, very nice. And without the L plate, it looks a bit more compact, right? Because this part here, this component is no longer there. You only need it if you want to shoot in portrait orientation and use the ARCA SWISS compatibility in a vertical direction of the camera body. So that is done. Let's see if we have access to everything we need. And I showed already, if we lift this up, this one here goes out. And in this way, we can access the Compact Flash Express Type B card slot. And we can also access here the USB-C port. And if we don't need that, we can snap it on again. And in this way, it's also protected, you know, it cannot accidentally open. And a few people told me in comments and also by sending me emails that these doors here have a little bit of play. In this way, it's perfectly secured. Looks very solid to me, and there is no play. It's really secured in this way. Let's look at the bottom for access to the battery, but that is not a problem because here are spare outs. I can just do it like always and then push it gently and the battery slides out. No problem at all. So battery access is also for granted, and we have a bunch of tripod mounts here because the original tripod mount socket on the camera bottom side is actually occupied by that screw which holds the cage to the camera body. But we have here plenty of them which we can use if we want to screw in something like a bottom plate, but we also don't need it because we have ARCA SWISS compatibility here. Okay, so far so good. I disassembled this whole cage again, not because I don't like it, but because I need to show you something else which is important. And what I want to show first is going on inside the cage, because here are more screws. And let's for a moment unscrew them and let's have a look inside what's hidden in this thick bottom plate here. And we take the tool again. Let's see how this works. So we screw this off here and then we have a look inside. I want to show you. Here we go. Screw number 1. Screw number 2 is here on that cage. Here we go. Let's see if this comes off here. Look at that. There is a compartment here. And that compartment is deep enough and has space for an Apple AirTag. And I coupled this, I connected this with my iPhone, so I will always find where my camera is if I place this inside. Look here. So let's get this screwed on again with the 2 screws. I do a quick fast forward again. I screw it on, then I show you. Let me stop the video for a moment. This is boring. I've now screwed in these screws firmly here, and inside that bottom plate here, which has quite some thickness, is now the AirTag hidden. And first of all, nobody knows that I have hidden an AirTag inside here. So I can locate my camera wherever it is. And second, if someone would have appetite to steal my camera and they do not know, I can locate the thief and get my camera back. And third, you have here these screws with a special tool. And even if you would guess, let's say second guess, educated guess, that there is an AirTag somewhere in here, you would need a tool first to remove it, and you would have to remove the cage first from the camera body. So it's quite some effort. But most importantly, no one will know that there is an AirTag inside here, and I can locate my camera wherever I placed it or wherever it's vanishing to if it is stolen. That is, I think, super convenient. I've now almost reassembled it. I have spared the L plate on the side for the time being. And I actually firmly screwed in these 4 screws here. And you see they are sit firmly now on the cage. I've not screwed in that screw here, and I used before this one here. And this screw here, if you look at it, is a standard screw with a coin, for instance, or a standard tool. You can screw it in and out. And I want to make sure that if someone would have that intuition that there is an AirTag or a tracking device inside that cage bottom plate, I would actually like to prevent that they can take the AirTag away. And you can only take the AirTag away with these screws inside the plate, which I just showed, and if you can remove the cage from the camera. And for this, they included a special screw here, which is not so easy to find a tool for screwing that screw. And I want to now get this inside here, because this will protect even more my AirTag in the camera cage in the way I demonstrated. So let's go here. And I think there is an additional tool now, which is this one here. This fits perfectly into here. And I can screw this in. For the time being, I do it like this. And then I think I need the other tool here, which is here. So let's get this in. And now we have this special tool here for this special screw to make sure it's screwed super firmly with force to the camera body. And then it gets even harder to remove that cage from the camera body, getting access to the screws inside to remove my AirTag. But I think no one will second guess that there is an AirTag inside here, so I can track my camera and can find it wherever it is. I've mounted the L plate for a moment again here, and I described it before as enabling the ARCA SWISS compatible portrait shooting mode here, which I showed on that little tripod head before. But there is another function here, because here you have also a tripod socket for mounting other accessories. And I have here a typical example for that, which I'm going to mount quickly. Let me see if I can do this with one hand in front of the camera. I think it will work. Look at that. And now I can mount here something else, you know. I can mount here an accessory like a video light if I want, for brightening the scene in front of the camera when I shoot, and keep the hot shoe free for flash. There are lots of options you can do with these type of accessories. And of course, it makes the camera a bit more bulky, but in certain situations, you will enjoy that you have this optionality here, which the L plate gives you. For me, I don't really need it at this point in time. By the way, you can also extend this here and get a bit more space between the accessory and the camera if you want. And I will use it in a compact form for the time being, but you have optionality here. And I think that's, of course, very nice. Let's get this out. Let's snap this slider here in again. Listen to the click. And that's it. More compact for me, the way I will use it most of the time, but I have options if I need them. In the packaging out of box, there were 2 replacement screws. This one here, which goes into the top plate of the cage. I'll store them here in that box. 1, 2. Then we have the standard screw down here at the bottom side, which are now replaced by this more sophisticated screw here, where you don't easily find a tool to remove the cage from the camera. So this also goes in here. And then we have the screw for the L bracket on the side, which I also store in here. And then we have the toolkit here, of course, which can also be conveniently stored in that box. And so I make sure everything is in a place where I can find it again when I need it. And that's the way how this cage looks like. It protects the camera body. It's very solid in hand, and it actually gives me access to everything I need. The USB-C port, the compact flash express type B port, the battery, and I have an AirTag hidden inside the bottom plate here, which helps me to locate my camera if I ever would lose it. So for me, this is a keeper. I will keep it on my X2D Mark II for the time being. And by the way, I paid for this cage with my own money. That's an accessory they didn't send to me for free. So I paid for it. I bought it. I will keep it on my camera body. And for me, after everything I've seen, the way it sits in my hand in a very solid way, I will keep it and use it and enjoy it. And it also has my full recommendation for you guys. If you have an X2D or X2D Mark II and you don't care whether your camera is a bit more bulky than it used to be, then this is a great accessory, and you will never again lose your camera or locate it somewhere in a place, forget about it, and then scratch your head, where is my Hasselblad X2D? or X2D Mark II. If you liked that video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. And of course, peace out.